Alright guys, here we go. Let's do this draft. So Erin is picking first. She is on the clock and she did not send me a draft order. So she is going to get the Montreal Canadiens. So Montreal is off the board. And that means that Bummer Boy is on the clock. Bummer Boy did send me a draft list, and he wanted the Edmonton Oilers. So Jack is getting Edmonton, which makes Nick PEI on the clock. Edmonton is gone. So next up is Nick PEI. I don't believe Nick did not send me a list, and I don't think he's in the chat. He is not. So Nick is going to get the Boston Bruins according to the default list. The list is according to the number of hits in the Dominion box. So Dominion, or Boston rather, going to Nick. That means that Mr. Barth is on the clock. Is Mr. Barth in the chat? He is not. Did Mr. Barth send me a list? He did not. So Mr. Barth will get the Dallas Stars. So Dallas going to Mr. Barth. Ron is up. Is Ron in the chat? I'm not familiar with some of these guys if they have different names on the 643 site. I don't see a Ron. Ron is Ron? Okay. Ron, I believe, did send me a list, so I will check his list here. And he has Montreal, who's gone. Boston's gone, Edmonton's gone, so he's taken Detroit according to his list. So the Detroit Red Wings are gone to Ron9901. Which means that Tex is on the clock, and I see that Tex is in the chat room. So Tex, let me know who you want. No worries. Tex on the clock, and he's taken Colorado. So the Colorado Avalanche going to Tex. Oops. Alright, that means that TiVo was up, and TiVo was in the room. Who would you like? Alright, Terry takes the Pens via the chat. So Pittsburgh is off the board. That means that Stuntman is on the clock. Stuntman is not in the room. I believe he did not send me a list. Just let me double check that. Yeah, I don't have a list from Stuntman, so he will go according to the default. And he'll get the Philadelphia Flyers. So Philly going to Stuntman. Sean, 1989 on the clock. Is Sean in the room? I don't see him. I do have a list from Sean. And Boston is gone, Colorado's gone, Montreal, Edmonton, Detroit, Dallas. So Sean will pick Florida, according to his list. There should be volume. Okay, so Sean takes Florida. Oh. And they were next on the default list as well. So J Candy. Hopefully you guys like my draft broadcast setup. J Candy is not in the chat. He did send me a list, and his pick was the New York Rangers. So J Candy's getting the Rangers. I hope that's a reference to John Candy. It's pretty sweet. So J 2005 Candy. Golf Nut, you're up. He is in the chat. He also sent me a list, but I'll let him make his pick. Kings will do for this kid. Okay, so the LA Kings. Thank you, Todd. Let me move up the teams here a little bit. Linda is on the clock, and she sent me a list. Let me put Todd here. Linda is going to be taking her San Jose Sharks. No surprise there. Congratulations, Linda, on getting your team. Which means that Johnny Canuck is on the clock. He sent me a list. He said he might be here. I don't see Johnny Canuck in the chat, but I know he has like 10 different names. I'll go to his default list here. Okay, so he had gone. He's got Carolina next. So Carolina is going to Johnny Canuck. And War Machine is up next. War Machine is not in the chat. He sent me a default list. Boston, Montreal, Edmonton, Dallas, Philly, Detroit, Florida, LA. He's got the Anaheim Ducks. So Anaheim going to War Machine. Okay, thanks for letting me know there, Mike. Next up is El Cid. El Cid did not send me a list. Here he is, Wild. Alright, thanks for the pick. So El Cid's got the Minnesota Wild. The Ducks and the Wild are now off the board. Minnesota going to El Cid. Alright. Next up is Shane Dog. Shane did not send me a list, so he is going to get the New Jersey Devils, as I don't see him in the chat. So New Jersey going to Shane Dog. Ferg is taken St. Louis. So let me get New Jersey and St. Louis off the board. Thank you for the pick there, Ferg. Oh, this is going along nice and smooth. No more drafts in the form for me. So Ferg is getting St. Louis. Oops. Next up is Dawkins. I don't think I have a list from Dawkins. Let me check here. And I do not. So Dawkins is going to get the Vancouver Canucks. Hey Jack, welcome here. Chuck is next. he sent me a list. LA is gone. Montreal, Edmonton, Dallas, Philly. Carolina is gone. Rangers, Pittsburgh. Colorado, St. Louis. Nashville. So the Nashville Predators going to Chuck and all four kinds. Next up is Mike. Who would you like, buddy? And the Leafs. Toronto. Going to Mike, which means that Devilish Demon is on the clock. Devilish Demon is not in the chat, and he did not send me a list. So he's going to get the Ottawa Senators, according to the default list. Devilish Demon. That means that Flyers Takedown is in the room and he's on the clock. Who would you like, Jason? Nice pick, Chicago. Can't believe they don't have that many hits in Dominion. So Chicago. Going to Flyers Takedown. Thank you, just a shout out here for Jason for doing our Twitter account. He's doing an awesome job with that. We really appreciate it. Zach is on the clock. He's not in the room, but he did send me a list. And let's see, Colorado, Edmonton, Montreal, Pittsburgh, Nashville, Florida. So Zach has the Tampa Bay Lightning next on his list. So El Donko is getting Tampa Bay. Next up is Soccer Taz. Is Jeremy around? Don't see him. And I do not believe he sent me a list. He did not. Yeah, so he'll get the Capitals. Going to Jer. Next up is Brian. Brian wanted to go with the default list, so he's getting the Buffalo Sabres. 46 Blitz. Next up is J Buck. I did not get a list from J Buck, and I don't see him in the chat. So he's going to get the Winnipeg Jets. And is J Buck, I wonder if that's a John Buck reference, because didn't John Buck wear number 14? I could be wrong. Cole Allen is in the chat. So Cole, who would you like? Cole's taking Calgary. Which means that Matty is on the clock. Matt, who would you like? Columbus Blue Jackets. Going to Aaron Ohm. Oops. And down to Thorsby. FD Thorsby is not in the room. Oh, he is. You're up, Frank. Thorsby takes Phoenix, which means that the Milos pick goes to Jordan. That's not a bad last pick. You might get a Jonathan Tavares. Alright, you guys. So here is the final team list. I will break the feed and we will go live in just a few minutes. And we'll break the box. We're also going to give away an NHL jersey So we'll see you guys in just a couple minutes from now for those 2 boxes right there and an NHL jersey giveaway. See you in a bit.